Listeners be advised. The Soliloquy podcast discuss matters related to the human experience and many that are sexual in nature. Due to this, some conversations may surround triggering topics such as sexual violence, self harm, abuse, and much more. Please be advised a list of crisis and psychological resources will be available in the show notes of this episode. With that said, let's get started with the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention please as we go through the following safety instructions.
In the event that there is a loss of cabin pressure, oxygen mask will drop from the overhead. Place the mask over your nose and mouth. Breathe normally as oxygen is flowing even if the mask is not inflated. Be sure to adjust your own mask before helping others.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Soliloquy podcast, where we step out and speak about sexuality. This is your favorite host, Vernon T. Scott, also known as Slaytor Jackson, and for you freaking motherfuckers out there, Sebastian Adams. On today's episode, oh Lord, what word was that? On today's episode, we are talking about one night stands. Motherfuckers is getting freaky and shit, nasty whores. And I have my friend Tyrell on the line. How are you doing, good sir?
Hello, friend. How are you? I'm doing just fine.
I'm doing good. You ready to talk about one night stands?
Ooh, I'm guessing we about to spill some tea here.
Look. If it's tea, call me fucking Lipton's because I got too many, too many. Now, let's begin this conversation by having, because I know we kind of brushed over this in our intake meeting about how there's different definitions of one night stands. What is your personal definition of a one night stand?
So my definition of a one night stand would be somebody that I've engaged with on an intimate level, but I don't really see them ever again. And the reason why I have that as the last part is because sometimes, one night stands can turn into relationships or, turn into, a FWB situation, so you can have one night stands that turn into something. But if I'm thinking about just a sole one night stand, that means that at most I would have gotten is, like maybe your name, if that depends on if liquor's involved. So, it really just depends. But typically what my notion of a one night stand is solely is just that, hey, you've met somebody through whatever means that you've had this, kind of fire connection right off the bat. And, you do what you do and you both go about you all go about your business.
See, that's that. I feel the same sentiment there. Like if I'm going to hook up with you, and usually I don't really hook up with anybody without the intentions of okay. These days, let me add that caveat there. I don't really hook up with anybody with the expectations that it's only going to be a one-time thing. It is. We had this conversation that I'm looking for a regular. Now, if you're looking for just the hit and quit, just go ahead and say that because look, if you want to be a body, you better show up ready to be counted as a body because I don't count sorry sex. If you're not in that number, I'm sorry. The Saints don't march in like that over here. You really do. You really do have hope and pray to be in that number. Do well. Do well. Now, when I was, out here hoeing in my younger days, I was more willing to just be like, okay, there's no intentions of this being a regular thing. It's your just to be added on as a body to my body count. Like if I'm going to visit a place with the intentions of being a hoe,
Mm.
I'm not really trying to make that one person that I hook up with that first night to be my vacation bae. Now, has that happened before? It surely has. In North Carolina, I had a whole vacation bae. It was wonderful. I don't know how that ended up. Well, I know how that ended up being the situation, but it was a fun situation and I enjoyed it.
Look, I'm taking a trip in a few months, and I would love to have me a vacation base. So holla at.
Look, where you going?
Oh, we're going to Hawaii.
Oh, yes, you better get your vacation bae there.
Yes.
Yes, yes, praying for it. Yes. Now, outside of a good vacation bay, I'm supposed to be defining a one night stand. That's what I'm supposed to do. Not talking about vacation bays. Vernon, stay on fucking topic today, okay? Your audience is already mad. I'm joking. Y'all not mad. I hope y'all ain't. But with the one night stand, of course, we hook up and we go our separate ways with no intentions of really ever reconnecting. Now, if we ever do reconnect, I, hmm, I never thought about that. If you reconnect with the one night stand and it's like a hit it and quit it situation once again, is it still a one night stand or now you're in a fuck buddy kind of situation?
Well, I don't think it's like, because obviously you don't necessarily know for sure, like you're ever going to see this person again. So I think it's all about the intention.
Mm,
Like, so I think if you believe, like, oh, my intention in this moment is just to, like, you know, just hook up with this person and it's not going to be anything, then, you know, you may not see that person again for another 2, 3 years and you could just happen upon them or, you know, something like that. So I don't think, you know, so I think at that point, when you see each other again, you can still say, "Oh yeah, we had a one night stand." Now, if you and that other person do it again, then obviously it's not necessarily a one night stand anymore because then obviously you've gotten together again. So I think you know it's just like you know thinking about one night stand versus like I say, it's all about intention. So it's like versus you know somebody that you know you want to keep around you for a little bit, but you know it's kind of like you circle back around to them
mhm.
every so many weeks or days or however. So I say you know definitely make sure that you understand your difference between your one night stands, and you better take a page from Issa Rae and Insecure and get yourself a rotation going on.
Yes, I always have a rotation, y'all. Yes,
Yeah,
build a
so
roster, build a motherfucking roster.
exactly. So make sure you understand your rotation is going on.
Right now, if you need tips on how to build a roster, oh, you know what? That's actually going to be one of the topics for November. So y'all motherfuckers better, show up for that. And also, you can purchase the essential guide on how to be a hoe. It's in the show notes. Just remind y'all motherfuckers, it's there. But like, I wonder when does a person become a fuck buddy from a one night stand?
Mm,
Because like what you were saying, y'all get y'all little rotation going on. You have the intentions of it being a one night stand. 2 years later, both of y'all motherfuckers still single. You just like, oh, I want to revisit that, and now
mm.
you revisit that, and then this revisiting happens like every other week. Do you have the conversation that okay, either we fuck buddies or we friends with benefits? Like, what are we going to do here? Or you just allow things to keep going on and just
Yeah.
be messy? I
So yeah, that's my thing. Like I think like if all we're doing is meeting up for sex, then obviously I think, you know, we can consider ourselves fuck buddies. You know, because we're not, you know, sharing, you know, activities or interests outside of sex. So if that's all that we're doing, hey, then that's fine if that's what is mutually agreed upon or anything like that. Now, I think that if we are you know, if we're, you know, going to movies or, you know, we're going skating or, you know, we're enjoying, you know, each other's company outside of, you know, hooking up, then, you know, you could classify that, you know, in a number of ways. That could be like a, you know, friends with benefits, or, you know, it could be, you know, whatever it is that, you know, you're defining it, you know, for yourself, if you're even defining it at all, you know, because that's, you know, we live, you know, in a time right now where it's like, why do we need to actually define it? You know, if it's not important right now to the people that's involved, why it's kind of like why ruin a good thing? Like I know that, you know, we need to be able to define things because we need to know how to classify people in our life. But if that classification is going to get into the hindrance, it's like, oh, all of a sudden now I'm about to put a title on it. It kind of ruins like some of the excitement of it.
Mm.
So it's kind of like, there's a part of it that like excites you about being a mystery, to someone else. So it's like, no, I'm not necessarily introducing you, to my best friends or to my family, where it's like, oh, I need to, make sure that either, hey, I put a label on it or just call you by your name. We may not have even gotten to that point yet.
Mm. That's real.
Yeah.
But I wonder where is it where's the point where the mystery becomes messy? Because that's the thing that's why I feel as though it is kind of important to have that conversation to
Yeah.
clarify where everybody is. But of course, if there's nobody in there that's feeling as though that they're lacking within the mystery of things, then of course enjoy it. If your family gets all up in there like, what the fuck are you? Mind your fucking business and leave it at that. Friends too. What the fuck are y'all doing? Like y'all been doing these things, going to the movies, fucking around. Are y'all like in a relationship? Mind your fucking business. We just doing our things. We're enjoying ourselves. But within the confines of that relationship, if you start to, develop those feelings for that person, or you feel the need to define something, I'm just curious about when would you consider it being messy, or when it will be stepping into the range of being a messy situation that you really do need to define.
Yeah, I think that you're absolutely right. I think that a lot of times when we find ourselves into messy situations, it's because of the fact we don't know where it is that we stand in someone's life. So it's kind of like, that classic thing about, oh, we talk for this long, or, we've made plans to meet up this, however many times, like even for, a show that, we kind of both watch, there was a point where somebody was like, oh, if I go out on a fourth date with somebody, like, that's kind of like, it means something. Like, we're not just like dating to just date. Like, this is like progressing, into something. And for, everybody, that looks different for everybody. So I think that the problem of when it starts to get messy is when you don't know where it is that you stand in someone's life. If you are just, a fuck buddy, if you are, friends with benefits, or, we are, two passing strangers, or, whatever that is. So I think that the part where it really starts to get messy is when, again, like you say, you don't have clear communication. And if you don't have clear communication, no matter what the situation is, it's going to be messy.
Yes, I'm with you there. So this is not necessarily with, like being messy and things like that. But just having that clarity, that's knowing where we are, what, like, I can see how people, definitely take offense whenever they do bring up that conversation to somebody about what are we and what they expected the relationship, the confounds of their situation to be. Is it matching up with their definition of things, and how that causes conflict? Because I will say probably for myself too, if I'm chatting, well, okay, I really can't say for myself because my compartmentalization is like on 100. But,
Sorry.
But like, if it wasn't there, if I'm seeing somebody, feeling them, and really want to define where exactly this situationship is. The Holiloquy podcast focuses on the variability of sexual expression. When it comes to sexual expression, we often depend on pornography to illustrate how one must perform sexually. For those who have not learned this by now, the stuff you see in porn is not real. Pornography provides a singular perspective of sexual expression that is not often the reality we see during our own sexual encounters. The Holiloquy podcast is a conversation that takes you outside of the compressed box of what many know about sex. Some of the topics we discuss includes kinks, condom usage, status disclosure, and past sexual experiences. The Holiloquy podcast steps out on sexual norms and recognizes that the norm is not the only normal. Subscribe today and join the conversation. Really want to define where exactly this situationship is, and I'm feeling like we're on some boyfriend, girlfriend, boyfriend, boyfriend relationship, romantic relationship type shit, and you just tell me, oh, well, we're just fuck buddies. And I can see how a person can be hurt by that,
Mm.
but I also wonder if that same individual that's hurt willing to evaluate if their defined definition of the relationship is worth you separating,
Mm.
because you wanted something more or you wanted a different type of title, and I just wonder how other people see that. So for yourself, how would you view that if the terminology wasn't matching up for you?
Yeah, like you say, just like for yourself, I'm very good at compartmentalizing. So it's one of those things that I think that there are actions that are in place that you tend to recognize because, like, just to really quickly mention, like, I met somebody recently, not necessarily on a romantic level, but just, getting to know someone. And anybody who knows me, they know that I can't stand consistent and follow up text messaging when we've just talked. Like I tend to find that to be clingy behavior.
Hmm.
So I made mention of this after so long because I was saying that, okay, well, if I don't, message this person back because we had just talked, message that morning and he's like messaging me in the afternoon, I'm thinking like, okay, well, if I don't message this person at certain times, maybe they'll pick up the hint. That doesn't happen. So the more that it keeps going on, I finally found myself having to address it. And I made mention in the message, I'm like, listen, I mean this from a very loving place, but it's like if I just talk to you, I don't like having during the day like very short, quick conversations, especially if we've just talked. And I said that that's on like any type of level, friendship, romantic, whatever. So it just doesn't apply to the nature of romantic and trying to get to know somebody on that level. But just expressing what my preferred method of communication is,
Hmm.
and telling this person that hey, I think that they're a great person, enjoy chatting with them, but like in getting to know you, you also have to give me time to miss you as well. Like I want to catch up with you at the end of the week, or like after so many days, so that way we actually have something to talk about. Because it's like when you texting me, hey, I'm like, what? Like what? Hey, what? Like, what is it? So to go back to your question, I think it's just if I found myself in that situation, I would just have to recognize, okay, what were my expectations in this situation versus what is the reality of it? Because usually there are warnings, there are actions that are being done that clearly would give me the answer that I need. And I either just are choosing to ignore them or I'm pretending like they don't exist.
Mm. See, that is this is drawing at the MFT that I'm learning now. But what you said reminded me of like narratives and
Mm.
going back to one night stands, but like having that fear of being someone else's one night stand, and
Mm.
how certain people, they're told, or like even the narrative is if they don't reach out to you after a certain amount of time, then
Mm.
they don't like you, or if they don't text first, they don't like you, and how that narrative does play out in our day-to-day lives in the ways that we communicate with people. We go out on a date hoping that this conversation was great, and we're seeking that validation of, okay, are they going to text me, are they going to call me, are they going to do anything, how long do I wait? And I'm of the mindset, just give people time. If they want to reach out to you, they will. If not, you can reach out to them in a few days, whatever it is, whatever works for you. But there is still that narrative that is built out there about what to expect after a date or how long it should be until you get that response or have that reach out. And I just wonder how much of that fear is present within the fear of not being a one night stand is present within our general,
Yeah, because there is no, set rules about, oh, if somebody's interested in you, like they're going to follow up with you the very next day, or, they're going to, text you back in this amount of time or whatever. You really have to look at people's actions and the way that people show up in your life. If you're having a problem with the fact that this person that you're getting to know is not, communicating with you in a way or as much as you would like, you can bring that up to them and see how they respond to it. And so that way you can get on the same page. And unfortunately, that's what has a lot of people not even get to a clear place of understanding, because it's like a game. It's like, playing phone tag
Mm,
almost. So it's like we can't even get to the point of having serious conversations around communication, because either I'm waiting for you to call me or text me, and you're on your other end wondering, like, oh, okay, like if I text or call this person, like, is that, if I do it too soon, is that like being clingy, for them? Am I going to scare them off? And, all these, things are just going through your head. I feel like if it's on your mind to do it, just do it.
mm,
Just do it. And if the person has a problem with it, then they should be the ones to bring it up.
mm,
So that's why I go on to say it's like you have to look at the actions that are being done, because somebody who is going to prioritize you in their life is going to be making time for you. And no matter if that's like a short conversation or text, sometimes texts are just that. Because that's the thing, like text messaging is not supposed to be for like hours long conversations. Texting was meant for short, things like, oh, we're both at work, but hey, we're thinking about each other. So we exchange, a few texts before we get back to work. That's I love those kind of things. Like you texting me in the morning because you're bored at work. It's like that's not a good reason to be communicating with me just because you're bored.
oh God, I hate when
Like,
somebody tells me, "Oh, I'm bored." I am not your source of entertainment, motherfucker. I'm
no.
just not your source of entertainment.
And I
Find
just want
something
to
to
put this
entertain
out
me.
there. I don't believe in boredom. I believe boredom is a state of mind.
Yes.
So I'm just one, I don't tend to believe in boredom. Like I tell people I've never been bored in my life, really. Like I can never think about a time where I've just really just been bored, because I'm always thinking about something. And no matter if I'm just, relaxing, chilling, watching TV, or I'm not doing nothing at the moment, I'm never bored,
Mm.
because there's always something I could be doing. And I just either choose not to or don't want to.
I'm with you. I can't say I never get bored. I rarely get bored, but the only times I do get bored is when I'm at work
Mm.
and I'm trying to be productive when there's nothing to be productive at.
And
So for
mm,
those little, I say 10 minutes that I'm bored as hell, that's when I'm
mm,
just like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm about to pull up something to entertain myself, be it YouTube videos that are work appropriate. Because I have a whole thread of YouTube videos that's work appropriate that educates me. Like Crash Course on YouTube is my shit. I've
yeah,
learned so much.
yes, come through, crash course.
Look, come through. Like that's one of my go-to things to keep myself entertained when nothing's going on at work, regardless of what job I've ever worked, doing homework, reading news, not news articles, but reading like articles of research that I'm focused on or that
Mm,
is of my interest. A motherfucker over here cannot be bored all the time. Mm-mm.
no.
If I'm going to be home doing nothing, oh, I'm going to have peace in mind because I'm going to be
Mhm,
chilling. I'm going to be
exactly.
meditating. Meditating is not boring.
Yeah, so
Like,
just being with your thoughts or just being in silence or in your own space, like I'm never bored. So it's like I don't really know how to respond to. I don't respond actually to text that, like I'm okay, I'm bored. I'm like, okay, what do you want me to do about it?
look, every time somebody send that to me, my main question is, what do you like to do for fun? And if they respond sex, oh, okay. Or if they have nothing, if that's the only thing that they have to say about what they do for fun, I'm just like, oh, that sounds so depressing.
It does. It truly does.
Like I'm over here like, man, I like to travel. I like video games. I like to read. I like to write. I like museums. I like art. I like to create. I like music. I like stage plays. I have a full list. What do you want? Do you want to learn how to sculpt with me? Because that will be a lot of fun. Like, what's up?
Exactly. Exactly.
Like,
Like, I could give you things to do, like if you just truly bored. Like,
look, a lot of things. Like I painted so my old roommate, she had this little end table and she left it when she moved out. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna keep this. It was easy to break down and everything. It's wooden. And when I moved to my new place, I was like, I'm going to do something with it. I painted the entire thing, made a little artistic piece out of it. It's looking good in my living room. Love it. If you cannot do stuff like that with your time, I don't, I'm
mm.
sorry. I don't know what to do.
But yeah, it's one of those things that, like, we, going back to the nature of just, one night stands. It's like thinking about what your actual expectations are. And that's why one night stands are so interesting, because I think we have different perceptions of them, between if we're the initiator of it, or not.
Hmm, go
Because
further.
even if it's mutually agreed upon, there's always, I think, like one person that is not necessarily more aggressive, but is the one that kind of like puts it out there, like, this is what this is going to be. So I think that the person who does that is the one that kind of like establishes the tone for whatever the one night stand is.
I see that argument. I see that.
So
Like, I know, most definitely if it's me who's initiating that, because I literally tell people straight up, this is what I'm looking for. If that's not you, that's cool. It is what it is.
yeah.
Now, if someone else hits me up, I'm just like, okay, all right, what's up? How are you doing? Like, I automatically go into conversation. I don't go automatically into sex
Right.
because my mind is not always in sex. Oh, surprisingly, sex podcast, but your mind is not always in sex. Sex educator, not always in sex. So want to be a sex therapist, is sex coach, but not all in sex. Bernie, you're contradicting yourself, sir.
No, you're not.
Look,
No, you're
I'm a,
not.
I'm a
There's a
whole,
lot of
I'm a
other
diverse
things that,
person.
look, there are a lot of other things that go
A
into it. They
lot
go
of.
into it.
So it's like I'm here to have the conversation. And then that person might go into sexual stuff. I'm like, okay, cool. What are you interested in? Or is this are you trying to establish friends with benefit the kind of thing? Are you trying to do a one night stand? Are you trying to be fuck buddies? What's the intent here? Let me know. Cause I might be down for all of it. Like, what's up? So I definitely agree. It is often up to that person who initiates that conversation related to the sex to control the tone. So
Mhm.
yes.
Yeah.
Um, so another thing to address when it does come to a one night stand, what are some of the safety concerns that you typically have when engaging in one?
Well, I think that safety obviously definitely is number one. But I think that for a one night stand, it's best to meet at a mutually agreed upon location for it. No matter if you just want to pay like for a hotel for a night. I know that sometimes, that can become, expensive, or, whatever. But I just, there's a thing about, inviting people to your home, or you go into someone else's home that that you don't know for a first time for a hookup session, that you don't necessarily know how this is going to go. And it's not to say that you can't eventually get to that place, but yeah, so definitely location is a safety concern. Making sure that you're on the same page about whether or not there will be use of protection or
Mm,
not, is a definitely a major conversation to be had if setting that up. Drugs as well,
mm,
any type of drugs. And yeah, there's a lot that is kind of like needs to be established, right from the get go. And I think that, again, when I say you're not trying to see into somebody's soul or anything, you're really not interested about what they like as far as outside interests. Just as long as, hey, we got protection, we're meeting here. This is what I like. This is what you like. We can get this going. But yeah, I think that those are some of the biggest things.
I'm with you. Definitely the conversation about protection, location, and all of that, because one, you have to know exactly how you're getting home for one,
Hmm.
even if it is within your home, knowing how that other person's getting home, but knowing that hey, this is my boundaries. And it's like within those conversations, most definitely if it's somebody that you've met at the club or whatever, is like you technically don't know that person well enough to know that they really will respect your boundaries.
Right.
But you're going into this with the intent and hope and the desire that they will, and hopefully 100% they will continue to respect your boundaries throughout their sexual engagement. We pray and hope for great safe sex.
Right.
And when I say safe sex, I'm not necessarily referring to with the condom or not a condom, but safe for you. Um, but having those conversations, making sure that everybody knows if we'll be using a barrier method like for protection, if you are going to be utilizing uh, a plan B, anything like that in response to, any kind of ejaculates, if there are any during that sexual encounter. But just having those mutually agreed upon things prior to engaging in the sexual act. Knowing that, hey, okay, do you need to sober up a little bit if y'all been out drinking? Are you aware? Are you conscious? Are you able to provide consent within this engagement?
Hmm.
Do you feel safe? And also having that conversation throughout the sexual encounter. Do you feel pressured in any way? But just making sure that there is true comfort. I think that's one of the safety concerns that I have when it comes to a one night stand. But as long as that comfort is truly established prior to us meeting up to have sex, um, typically things are fine. So,
Yeah. Because I mean, there's only so much that you can do to kind of like control the
mhm,
situation. Because again, a lot of things are happening, in the moment. So it's kind of like, if you got your bases, covered, I say, have fun if it's what you're into. Stay, definitely stay alert if you have, been drinking or, have some type of intoxication. Definitely, vet yourself, because we all know, like we know that when we know when we've had our limit, and if you don't know, you need to find out.
mm,
So because it's kind of like at the end of the day, you are responsible for you and your actions. So it's like, not to say that that's a justification for anybody to try to take advantage of you or do anything to you, but you do have to be careful about how it is that you operate.
mm,
And if you are heavily intoxicated and you're stumbling all over the place, or you, God forbid, throwing up, or anything like that, I wouldn't think that that would be the best decision making on your part to be engaged in a sexual encounter
mm.
with anyone at that moment.
And I would say, just for an additional sense of safety, making sure that your location is always shared with somebody that you trust. That way, they always know where you are. That's always a good thing. And if most definitely, if it's since we outside now, um, since we are outside enjoying our lives again, for the most part, just being open to having a crew that is truly there to protect you and you all protect each other, so that if that knows you, that knows your limits, knows when you're super drunk and when you need to go sit your ass down because you're not going anywhere with none of these motherfuckers, sit your little
Mhm.
horny ass down, we leaving. Have that kind of crew around you just to make sure that hey, whoever that friend is, let them know, hey, I'm about to go with this person. Because first off, well, at least with me, if you come to go to the club with me, you're leaving with me. I don't give a damn how cute that motherfucker is. He could pick you up where I
Yeah.
drop you off. None of
Mhm.
that. But if you are with your friends and they are comfortable with you leaving, they know who you leaving with. Take pictures of these mofos. Send it to
And
your friends.
And as someone who doesn't drive like myself, another safety tip is that if you are in a vehicle with someone and you're with someone else or a group of people or whatever, just always make sure that you have funds on you, even though you don't drive. So even if you're the person, paying for the drinks or, anything like that, just make sure you always have, funds to get yourself home.
Mm.
Because you never know if something is going to pop off, if something is going to happen to the person who's supposed to be driving. It could be an altercation, and I have an aversion to violence, so in real life, so I see violence happening, you're going to see me in the other direction, because that's not me. So for all my people who they are kind of like myself, where they either don't drive or depending on certain social situations, you kind of lean or depend a little bit more on someone else. Just make sure you always got yourself taken care of, just in case.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, one night stands, y'all. You gotta be careful throughout. You have to have those conversations with the people that you're about to have sex with. There's a lot of important conversations. I would love for us as a society to get to a point where we can just communicate with people. Like, I would love for somebody to approach me and just ask me, "Hey, what are your communication styles? What is your preferred communication method?" And we just go from there. Because I'm tired of having those conversations of people thinking that I'm like either not interested in them when I tell them I don't like to talk on the phone, and now I have to explain myself why I don't like to talk on the phone. It's just like, just accept, if you want to be on, if you're a phone talker, that's fine. I appreciate that. We don't have to communicate on the phone. Well, we don't have to, be here in this
Mm.
situation. Honestly, I prefer face to face over anything else.
Wow.
But it's like, if our communication is not matching, our communication methods are not matching, we don't have to be in this situation. We don't have to make a thing that will never be a thing.
Mm.
And that's another thing that a lot of people have to accept too, because not everybody's into texting, not everybody's into phone calls, not everybody's into FaceTime, not everybody's into, not everybody can have a conversation face to face.
Exactly.
And that's it's
It is what
sucks,
it
but
is.
it's real.
Yeah. And at least knowing offhand, that gets you the answers that you need. I'm like, stop ignoring the answers that's right in front of your face, people.
Mm, exactly, exactly. Okay, on that note, let's go ahead and switch on over to that Never Have I Ever segment.
All
We're going to
right.
start with the Would You Rather.
All right.
So, Tyrell, would you rather have a lover who never stops talking during sex, or have have one that never makes a sound?
Ooh. That's a good one. Never never makes a sound. Uh okay, well, since I like communication, I would go with the lover who never stops talking. And only because of the fact, like, I feel like even though if they didn't make any sound or any noise, I could see, like, expressions and things like
Hmm.
that. I could see that they're into it. Like, not making any sound, I think, would make me feel more apprehensive or more like insecure, like during sex.
Hmm.
So yeah, I would lean more towards the more talking than non-talking for my sake.
For me, I would rather have someone that's silent,
Okay.
rather than a talker. I don't know why, because I just feel like the talker is going to be narrating the sexual act the entire time.
No, right.
And
I
I'm just
got you.
like, I cannot imagine.
Yeah, that's why it's hard, because my thing is, like, it also depends on what they're saying, because like I don't need you, like, saying the same thing every 3 to 5 seconds.
Look,
Like,
I can't handle. Oh, yes, that feels so good, baby. Yes, I love that, baby. Oh, God, yes, yes. You stroking that dick so good, baby. Oh, I want to get in that pussy. I want to
mhm.
lick that ass. I want to suck your dick. I don't look. I'm going through so many genders right here, y'all. I don't even know where I'm at. Let me lick those titties. Like, oh my God, yes, you're doing the thing. Like, what are we doing? Like.
It was just
That
yeah.
was a whole. I feel uncomfortable, y'all. I'm sorry. No, well, not
Actually, you know
necessarily
what?
uncomfortable.
Now that you mention that, I think I'm gonna switch my answer.
I'm
To,
sorry.
to- no, no,
I
because
ruined
no, what
it.
you mentioned though is what made me think about like the nature of sex in general. It's communication through the
Mhm.
body. So it's like now that I think about it, it's like, no, like if I'm like, because I'm much more of a sensual lover myself. So it's like I want to be able to like kiss over you. I want to see your expression and your reaction if I, touch or, hit a certain spot or, if I'm just caressing or anything like that. And that's not something that needs to be done through words. It's
Mm.
all in the nature of how your body is physically reacting, tells me a lot. So yeah, I think yeah, I'm gonna switch mine.
Now, for y'all who love a verbal person, y'all continue to do y'all.
Exactly. There's nothing wrong
I
with it.
love it for
There's
y'all.
nothing wrong.
I hope my poor gesturing of a verbal person did not harm your sense of your sexual expression. I apologize.
No, look,
Um,
I was gonna say talk slower. So
because
talk
like
slower.
I don't, not like I've had sexual experiences where people are, verbal and it's not that bad. But after a while, I'm just like, you just said that already. Like, I'm keeping the word track, motherfucker. You cannot keep repeating the same thing over and over and over. I know it's good, okay? I know you're enjoying yourself. I got the fucking, I get it. But, I'm weird. Let's try this one. Another would you rather. Would you rather watch your ex having sex or have your ex watching you having sex?
Hmm. I would say I think I would be more apprehensive if somebody was looking at me. So I think I would go for the first one. I would rather watch my ex have sex.
Okay, boy.
And because of the fact like I'm somebody that experiences compersion a lot, like I love to see and hear about other people in like great, sexual encounters
Mm,
and things. So it's like that gets me a little riled. So yeah,
yes.
I think I like watching.
See, for me, I hate questions like this because the answer is still going to be both of them. Like, I'm okay with either or, motherfucker. Like, I don't think there was a bad split between myself and my ex. Well, we chat every now and again, but whatever. Um, but we still in communication every now and again. But it's nothing like sexual. But I think if I will still be comfortable with watching him have sex with somebody else, and I wouldn't mind if he was watching me having sex with somebody else. I'm
Right.
like, we fucked already. Like, it's,
Right. Yeah.
do you want to join? Can I
Right.
join?
Exactly.
Like,
Right.
what is this energy? What are we gonna do?
What we do.
But I guess for those people who may have, like a huge disdain for their ex, it's a big difference,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
guess.
I was gonna say, yeah, a lot of factors come into that question. Like, how do you and the ex feel about each other first and foremost?
Right.
So yeah, yeah, there's a lot of things that can go into that one.
I know if it was actually no, even though I don't fuck with that individual like that. This wasn't like an ex, but this was somebody I contemplated dating before. We hooked up, all this other stuff. It's complicated. But even with that person, I still wouldn't mind watching them have sex or have them watching me have sex or make this into a threesome.
Hmm, true.
Or those hypothetical people that the other person's having sex with, we can just bring both these situations together and now we have a foursome. It's the orgy now. What's up?
What's up? Yeah. Let's just get all the partners together and
All the partners. What's up? What we
let's
doing?
talk about this.
So, sex question.
Sure.
Have you ever had to kick someone out of your bed the morning after?
No. And it's usually because I'm either over at someone else's or we're at a mutually agreed place like a hotel.
Mhm.
So I've never actually had anybody in my king size bed. Um my bed is my personal space, so I haven't had that experience yet. But no, but I am one of those people that the morning after is always like the most awkward part for me because I'm like, okay, yeah, we've gotten together, we've hang, we chill, we've had fun. And it's like I'll like be staring at the ceiling the very next morning, like, okay, am I supposed to like wake them up at a certain time? Like, I'm just laying here. I really don't know what to do with my hands. Like, I'm just staring at the ceiling. I'm thinking about things because it's kind of like for somebody like myself who's not usually used to like staying out the night, it's like I get this kind of like visceral feeling for me to like not necessarily be home, but be in familiar space.
Hmm.
And so it's kind of like if I've been out like majority of the afternoon or the evening until the next morning, it's like, okay, yeah, at a certain point, I'm going to want to get up because, like, not necessarily that I have things to do, but it's like I'm tired of being here,
Hmm.
so yeah, I've never had to kick, somebody out. But I have had those moments where it's like somebody that I'm with, they want to kind of sleep in a little bit more than I do. And usually I'm all for that, but I'm like, no, like I want to go.
Hmm.
Like,
I would like I have not had to kick anybody out of my bed because one, I have to have expectations that this is going to be something that I want to see on a regular basis before I even allow you to sleep in my bed. Also, I need to step my bed game up since motherfuckers are just dropping king size beds and mother and shit. I'm okay with my queen. Okay, I'm okay with my fucking queen. At this moment, I'm okay, but I know I need to do better, y'all. Subscribe to the Patreon so I can do better with my bedding.
tipping no coins, y'all.
Look, but for real, I have not had to kick anybody out of the bed, at least not my bed. Now in terms of other people's beds, I did kick myself out of somebody else's bed because I was like, look, you cuddling and whatnot. I'm trying to go. I drove here to. It's been real. Let me go.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, you really got that urge to like, look, I'm not trying to leave like just like the road runner, but it's like, look, I need to go.
Mhm.
Like,
Like, you know why we hooked up, we had great conversation, and now I need to go home so I could be in my space a little bit, breathe my regular air, take another bath, and just
mhm,
refresh and
exactly.
re-energize myself. So I need to just exit here. Is nothing towards you, nothing against you. We can chill later today. We can go get brunch or some shit.
Mm,
But I just need to recap and go back home for a little bit so I
yeah.
can get my energies again. That's all.
Exactly.
That's
And
all.
honestly, something that I will do is like if I'm with the person like the evening or the afternoon before, I will purposely ask them like, "Oh, do you have anything to do tomorrow? Like tomorrow morning or anything?" Because their answer gives me information that I need as to say like, "Oh, if they don't have nothing to do, oh, they can sleep in late, or if I know that they have errands to run or things like that, I can set my mind in oh, so they're going to be getting up around, like this sort of time. So I can deal with that,
Hmm.
or otherwise I'll make an excuse like I got things to do. So,
Look, like if you planning on sleeping in my bed, you have to go ahead and set that expectation that that's what you're planning on doing because in the way my mind is works out, I've already planned that I'm going to be sleeping alone, and I can't
mhm,
wait for that.
mhm,
So if you know that you are invited over to my spot and you want to be there and you want to stay the night, you probably should have said, "Hey, I kind of want to chill with you all night.
mhm.
Will that be okay?"
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly what I do. Like usually and the reason why I do it is because especially like if I'm meeting somebody in like the afternoon or the evening,
Hmm.
I'm not going to want to go over there and then at the end of the night have to, come all the way back. So a lot of times I like spending the night over at, other people's place. And so, but I'm also the type of person that I'm like, I'm very considerate of other people's time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, oh, like what time, you have things to do tomorrow. Do you need me up at a certain time? Because I'm not trying to impede on anybody's space as well.
Yes. Yes. Same.
So,
Whew. Now, I have to admit, if it's like 2 or something in the morning and I did drive over to somebody's house and I did not ask to stay over, I'm not staying. I'm really not, because I actually prefer to drive at night when there's nobody else. I would not mind if someone's like, okay, we did what we needed to do. You can go ahead and leave. I'd be like, thank you for the blessing. Now I get to enjoy this ride back home in peace and pray that no crazy motherfuckers on the road.
mm,
But now I have slept in other people's beds before, like I already said, but it depends. It depends. Like once it was kind of an accident. We kind of just fell asleep
mm,
watching Netflix after like 4 hours of conversation when the
mhm,
intentions of meeting up was to have sex, and it
right,
just developed to drinking wine. Kind
right.
of, I wasn't really smoking, they were smoking, having great conversation, talking about histories. I don't know what the hell it was, but that entire night was a fucking vibe. And
Yeah.
I'm like, we can do it again whenever. We still in communication though.
Netflix and chill 2.0.
Look, Netflix and Chill 2.0, get on that level, y'all. It's great. Having good vibes. It's
It's
nothing
all
beats
it
it.
is.
Um, on that note, Tyrell, do you have any last words that you would like to share with the audience? Tips, tricks, sexy things, whatever?
Ooh, just, summation of, certain things, we've been talking about just, people, as we've been talking about one night stands and communication, just make sure that whatever situation or dynamic that you are thinking about or getting into, that you have very clear expectations and that you communicate those and be on the lookout for people's responses and people's actions. People tell you everything that you need to know without them actually really even needing to say anything.
Hmm.
So just be on the lookout for that.
That's a word. That's a word. So, thank you so much for being on the podcast, Tyrell. I appreciate you so very fucking much.
Always.
Um, for the listeners, y'all better know by now, November is coming up. Y'all better be ready for it. It's going to be great conversation. It's going to be some new topics that y'all are not familiar with. Y'all just gonna be like, where the fuck did Vernon pull this out of? Out of my fucking ass, y'all. It was beautiful and fabulous. You love it, smell it. It's beautiful. It's great. It's lavender. Let me stop. Oh my God, what the hell was that? That's nasty. Um, so y'all be on the lookout for that. November is on its motherfucking way. It's going to be greatness. It's going to be a reunion, y'all. It's going to be a whole reunion. Season 1's almost over, and we're in the works for season 2. Y'all, shit's getting real. But thank you all so much for listening to the Holiloquy podcast, where we step out and speak about sexuality. Just in case no one else told you this today, you are beautiful. You are worthy of happiness and joy. You are enough and then some. You may not live up to the expectations of others, but that is okay. You are only required to walk in your own shoes. May each day you live lead you towards abundance. With that said, love you all and see you next episode. Bye. Thank you for listening to the Holiloquy podcast, where we step out and speak on sexuality. You can subscribe to the podcast through your favorite podcasting app and find us on the web at www.holiloquy.com. That's www.heauxliloquy.com. Share the podcast with your friends and join the conversation.